welcome to Kaya's Commentary, where I give my commentary on pop culture topics, real world issues, anything in between, and maybe even some advice every now and then. Before we get down to it, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at kaya.r.pennington, and you can follow Kaya's Commentary on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Kaya's Commentary. Also, be sure to hit the follow/subscribe button, and if you're on YouTube, click the notification bell so you get notified when new videos drop. Now let's kick off the show with What's Trending, where I give my commentary on something I've seen trending on my socials. Today's topic, the reignition of the Hunger Games. Now, this is aggravating me, and as a Hunger Games fan, it's aggravating me that it's aggravating me. So Suzanne Collins, the author of The Hunger Games, wrote a prequel a few years ago called The Ballad of the Songbird, which I believe follows the POV of President Snow, how he got in power and all that. I really don't know because I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in that prequel. I could not care less, could not possibly care less about that prequel. And so they're making a movie, and the movie is dropping November 17th. Per usual with most Hunger Games films, they drop in November. And so my Twitter feed, and certainly my TikTok feed has been flooded with Hunger Games edits, Catching Fire, Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2, The Hunger Games. They put all four Hunger Games on Netflix, but that's only for the month of March, I believe, and that's only because it's been like 11 years. Still, when I first saw this, on my TikTok feed anyway, I reacted to it and I started liking the video. In the video, it was talking about how Peeta was better than Gale or whatever. Anybody who knows me and knows my love of the Hunger Games knows that I ship Katniss and Peeta. They know that I think Gale is trash, and not just because not just because of the quote unquote love triangle, but also because he's just a horrible person. And so I liked it because ironically enough, this particular Hunger Games post came right after a Divergent post. So I was like, oh, okay, sure. My two favorite fandoms just right after each other. And then I scrolled, and then I scrolled again, and there was another Hunger Games video. And I was like, oh, okay. And then there was another Hunger Games video. I was like, okay, wait, every other video was a Hunger Games video. I was like, okay, wait, I'm through now. Wait, I had to hop off TikTok. I refreshed my feed and it was still all Hunger Games. I had to hop off TikTok, went to Twitter. There's this debate about what's better, Divergent or the Hunger Games, which, come on now. I love Divergent, but come on now. That series did not go like it needed to be up there with the Hunger. It's so ironic because I really think Veronica Roth wrote that book with the intention of not being compared to the Hunger Games, which I really think is why she ended the book the way she did. And it's like it's still being compared. And for that reason, it's like we all know which is better. The Hunger Games. Like, don't even try. Argue with the wall, but you're not arguing with me on it. But there's a debate about that, and it's like, what is all the fuss about the Hunger Games? What is going on? Why are all these dystopian fandoms being brought back up? And then it hit me. The Ballad of the Songbird is coming out in November, and this is all marketing, and it's aggravating the ever-loving crap out of me. I had my Hunger Games phase, and I still only have it every November. That's it. That's the only time I allow myself to engage with the Hunger Games, and vice versa with Divergent, because the first one came out in March, so the only time I will watch that movie or engage with that is in March. The only dystopian or just like fantasy book turn TV movie, whatever, that I will allow myself to regularly engage with is the Maze Runner and the Ruby Red series or trilogy. That's it. That's it. And that's only because I don't know why it just randomly hits me to watch the Maze Runner sporadically throughout the year, but I don't have any connections to that as far as I do with like Divergent and Hunger Games. I have very traumatic connections with that with people that are no longer in my life, and so that's why It's a whole thing. But my point is, I'm tired of it. I am, and it's so weird to me to be tired of the Hunger Games, but I am. I don't want to see it on my feed. I don't want to see the movie. I don't want to see that prequel. I don't care about that prequel. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to see it. Please get that stuff off my feed. I don't care. I don't care. And it's so aggravating. Like, y'all have no idea how, like, flabbergasted, that's not even the right word, just exhausted I am of seeing the Hunger Games. I don't care about this movie. Honestly, I don't think it should have been made. Don't even think the book should have been written because who cares about how Snow got power? Who honestly cares about how Snow got power? And maybe I'm not even the person to be talking about that because I didn't read it, so I don't even really know if it's about him getting power. But it's like, who cares? They really kind of tell you in Mockingjay, he got power. He rose to power. He's been poisoning people ever since to keep power. He wears perfumed flowers to keep the smell of blood away. We don't care. We do not care. I don't care. Please, algorithms, keep that crap off my feed. That's right. I called it crap. Keep it off of my feed. I don't want to see it. Y'all, it mind boggles me that I am tired of the Hunger Games, but I am. I don't care. And so just seeing it on my feed so much, it's like, chill, bro. Chill. So that's my commentary on the Hunger Games popping back up and all these. Like, I like that people are getting an appreciation for it. It was very popular when it came out. And now a younger generation is experiencing it, and that's great. That's great. I remember when the Hunger Games and Divergent first came out. Um, I managed to get my brother and my cousin hooked to it. Mostly my brother though, my little brother. And it's like, there you go. There you go. Like, I've done my part at getting the younger generation hooked. My cousin, we're the same age, but like my little brother, like I've done my part getting the younger like he likes Divergent, he likes the Hunger Games, he likes the Maze Run. I've done my part. I've done my part in hooking him on dystopian fantasy. That's it. Don't need to see any more of it. Don't care about the prequel. Don't care if the new generation likes the prequel or if they even get hooked to the Hunger Games. It's had its time. I do think the dystopian genre needs to come back because it kind of. I really want to say that the Maze Runner really, for the most part, was the last of the dystopian like fantasy to be made into a big star movie or whatever. And so I do think an appreciation for dystopian fantasy needs to come back because for me, dystopian fantasy, a lot of people like to crap on dystopian fantasy, and dystopian fantasy really is closer to reality than we think. When the pandemic started, we low key went through the Hunger Games, Divergent, and the Maze Runner all at once, and no one can convince me otherwise. They have a purpose. And so I do think an appreciation needs to come back, and I'm glad that that's happening, but keep it off my feed. I don't care. Just keep it off my feed. And with that, let's kick it into our next segment. Let's go to the movies, where I give my commentary on a movie I've seen. Today's movie, Disney's 2019 live action version of Aladdin. So, this, when it came out, got a lot of hate. Like I don't want to say a lot, but it was not well received by a lot of people, the masses. And so I kind of just want to talk about how it actually wasn't that bad. I think it gets a bad rep, but let's get into the summary of it. So, it starts off with Genie telling his two children the story of Aladdin, the Princess, and the Lamp, and then it goes into Arabian Nights. From Arabian Nights, we meet Aladdin, I think, at the marketplace, and we see that he is a mastermind of thievery, right? Like some girl is trying to run game on him and he runs game on her. She snitches because she's a hater, and so he has to run. We bump into Princess Jasmine, who's already in the marketplace. In the cartoon version, we meet her at the palace and how she runs away because she doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to be forced into getting married. She wants to marry for love, and that's a difference from the cartoon to the live action. Cartoon, she wants to marry for love. um Live action, she doesn't really want to marry because she wants to be sultan, and whoever she marries is eventually going to be sultan. So if she finds loves along the way and marries, fine, but she wants to be sultan, and so therefore she doesn't really want to marry. So we already find her in the marketplace, and she gives bread to two kids, and the merchant is like, yo, you gotta pay for that, sis. You can't just take stuff from me. And so Aladdin intervenes, and he's like, do you have money? She's like, no. So he takes a bracelet that was from her mother off her arm, and she's like, yo, wait, that's my mother's bracelet. That is important to me. He's like, trust me. For some reason, she trusts this dude. She don't even know. And so he gives the merchant the bracelet and then tosses the apple at him and then takes the bracelet out of the merchant's pocket, gives it back. Well, he doesn't give it back to Jasmine just yet. But then they run because the merchant calls the the guards. And so this is where One Jump Ahead comes along. And I will admit that it's a little there are parts in here that are just a little weird. Like there are some parts they're singing and they're moving and it just seems and feels sped up, like literally fast forwarded, and it's like that's a little weird. But um there's a whole bunch of jumping and colorfulness of this scene as we make it through the marketplace. And then Aladdin shows Jasmine where he stays. She sees the view. She's like, oh wow, this is lovely. You actually are a cool dude. And then we hear that a new prince is coming to the kingdom. And so she's like, dang, I got to get back. So we also see in this scene that Aladdin is really smart because he sees the cloth that she is wearing. And he's like, that silk cloth comes from overseas. And the merchants who bring it overseas take it directly to the palace. So you're from the palace. So if you're not the princess, which I'm just going to automatically assume you're not, you must be Dahlia, her servant, or at least a servant. And so she's like, dang, you smart. Okay, yeah, sure. I am a servant in the palace, but now I have to get back so I can help the princess prepare for this guy. Do you have that bracelet? I kind of need that bracelet. And so he's like, oh yeah, I got the bracelet. And he's looking for it and doesn't find it. So she's like, dang, you really are a thief. And I'm stupid for thinking that you were anything else. And leaves. And so she gets to the palace. We find out that she is in fact Princess Jasmine, of course. And we see the prince who is very himbo-ish. And she's like, yeah, I of all the guys that I've seen, you are just woof. And so Raja the tiger, he has a little encounter with him, and we skip forward, right? Also within this scene, like in the cartoon version, Aladdin has a run-in with one of the prince's guards. Well, rather, in the cartoon, he had a run-in with the prince, but in the live action, it's the prince guard who's like, you are worthless. No one's gonna mourn you when you die, just your fleas. And so we get that mini song. I don't know what it's called. Riff Raff Street Rat. I don't buy that. Would they see a poor boy? No, I don't know what title that is, but do we get that song? Um, and then Jasmine. So we see that Jasmine is already taken with Aladdin. We see it through her handmaid Dahlia, who's like, as far as princes go, this dim-witted prince, you could do far worse, right? You don't actually have to talk to the guy. This is just marriage. You ain't gotta talk to him. But you would prefer the thief that you met in the market. And so Jasmine is like, no, maybe. And so Aladdin breaks into the palace to give Jasmine her bracelet back because Abu actually stole the bracelet. And so he's like, Abu, times we do steal, times we don't. This one, we don't. So he breaks back into the palace. And well, he breaks into the palace and gives Jasmine her bracelet back. And they're like getting close. And he's like, yo, do you want to go for a walk while the princess is out? Because he doesn't know that she's the princess. And Dahlia comes in and is like, who are you? Who ordered tea? And so Jasmine is like, I did for you, princess. And Dahlia's like, girl, what are you being weird? Like, it takes her a minute before she has to catch on. Oh, I'm the princess, and it's good to meet me. Now I'm gonna go bathe my cat because cats don't bathe themselves. And so Jasmine is like, okay, you gotta go. This has been nice, but you gotta go. And so Aladdin takes a hairpiece from her and he was like, okay, meet me here and I'll return this insurance that you actually meet me, right? So he's leaving the palace because he thinks he's got away with it, and then Jafar's guards catch him. Now, much like the cartoon, Jafar is looking for the Cave of Wonders. He finds the Cave of Wonders, but he's looking for somebody to go in so that he can get the lamp so that he can wish to be Sultan, right? And so he sees courtesy of Iago, which Iago in the cartoon version is his servant, his little bird servant. But in the live action, he's very more cheeky. Like he comments a lot on how Jafar is second best. Now Jafar's whole thing is that he doesn't want to be second best. His whole mantra or whatever is that either you're the most powerful man in the room or you're nothing. And so Iago kind of he's very cheeky in this. But anyway, so Iago sees this and he tells Jafar, and Jafar is like, Jafar kidnaps him and takes him out to the desert and is like, there's a cave of wonders that I need you to break into for me. You're a very good thief. I saw how you broke into the palace, but that was Princess Jasmine you were talking to. She likes to toy with commoners. Who's lying to him. She likes to toy with commoners, but you're nothing now, so she'll never really go for you unless you can get some jewels. And I personally can make you rich. You get this from me, and I will make you rich enough to impress the princess. So Aladdin goes into the Cave of Wonders, and he's looking for the lamp, and he finds the carpet, the magic carpet along the way, who just is grateful that he unsticks him. So the magic carpet is stuck under a rock, so he unsticks him, and then just boom, he's following Aladdin. So Aladdin finds the lamp, he gets the lamp. Abu, the monkey, sees a ruby, touches the ruby. Cave of Wonders goes into lava. The lamp, not the lamp, the rug tries to get them out of there. They make it to the entrance before the rug is hit by a rock, and then Aladdin is hanging on to the edge of something, and he gives Jafar the lamp. Jafar twists his foot on Aladdin's hand, knocking him out. Abu crawls all on Jafar, gets the lamp, and then he's thrown down into the cave. Jafar thinks he has the lamp. He doesn't. It's in the cave. So Aladdin rubs the lamp, and Genie comes out, played by Will Smith. And the thing I can appreciate about Will Smith's Genie is that he doesn't try to outdo Robin Williams. Because the whole thing about this thing is people are like, oh no, you can't do that, not without Robin Williams, who no one's going to be good enough than Robin Williams. And Will Smith doesn't even try to be as good as Robin Williams. He does his own thing, which I really appreciate. Will Smith's Genie is very eccentric, but sarcastically eccentric. And I really appreciate that. Now, Will Smith is a rapper, so he can't really sing, but I think he did take some like singing lessons. And so for the most part, he sing raps, and I can also appreciate that. A lot of people are like, Will Smith can't even sing. He did what he did, and I enjoy it. I enjoy his entire interpretation of it. So Genie comes out, he's like, oh, great, powerful master, give me your wishes. And then Aladdin is just starstruck, and so Genie is like, I said, oh, great, powerful master, you're not the guy. Boy, where's the guy, the boss, who's like, oh, I want all this power and money. And Aladdin's like, I know that guy, he's outside. So Genie is like, okay, well, here's how it goes. He goes into Friend Like Me, which I enjoy. And then Aladdin is like, so how does it work? Really? Come on, this whole song was the instructions. Like, okay, so here's how it goes again. And so the thing about this version is that you have to rub the lamp as your wish, as you're making your wish. In the cartoon, you just hold the lamp and you wish. You have to actually rub the lamp. So Aladdin puts the lamp behind him and then says, Genie, I wish for you to get us out this cave. So Genie does. And then he's like, okay, so you have 2 wishes. How are you going to use them? And Aladdin's like, actually, I have 3 because, you got us out the cave. I never really wished for that. So his first wish is that make him a prince. And so there's a lot of gray area in this. They really emphasize that you have to be very specific with your wishes. So Genie makes Aladdin a prince, and then they go into the palace and they do Prince Ali. I like that too. Another issue that people have with this film is that they say it was very Bollywood-like and not really Middle Eastern. I can't speak to that, so I won't. I will say that the colors and the dances really made me feel like I was in a land that was rich with a culture. I won't say what culture. I can't speak to that. So that's an issue within and of itself, right? They do Prince Ali. Jasmine, much like the cartoon version, is like, I can't be bought. Y'all just sitting here like I'm just gonna marry you, but you just here for my kingdom, right? No one can rule my kingdom better than me, which is a little cocky on her part because she's never even been outside of the palace, not by her own volition. They keep her captive in the palace, but it's like still, you don't know what's going on in your own city. But still, anyway. Meet Princess Jasmine. Aladdin is completely awkward at it. He's like, we have jams and jewels and expensive things that I hope to buy you with. Oh yeah, really? Oh no, not buy you, but like he's very awkward at it. And Genie, being charismatic and sarcastic, is like, I have never been that embarrassed. It is cold and dark in that lamp, but I will prefer it to this. So they get to their harvest festival, and Aladdin is still having trouble. And Genie is like, just be you. Prince Ali got you to the door, but Aladdin has to open it. Just be you. Aladdin, much like the cartoon version, is having. He feels like he can't compete with any other prince. So Genie basically forces Aladdin to go talk to Jasmine, and then Jasmine is like, you want to dance? Let's dance. So Aladdin, not really knowing the dances, Genie kind of does his magic on him, and then it's all fine. And he kind of takes it too far, being a little too extra. So Jasmine is like, "Yeah, okay, wow." So the another thing to note is that Genie and Dahlia actually kind of like each other. So when Aladdin sneaks into Princess Jasmine's room, to apologize, Genie is distracting Dahlia so that Aladdin can get there with the help of the magic rug. So Princess Jasmine is like, have you lost your kingdom? Because I have looked all on these maps. The maps are how I see the world, and I can't find your kingdom. So Genie works his magic, and we see his kingdom on the map. And then Aladdin is like, you should get out more. Come on, take a ride on my magic carpet. So they see the city, they do a whole new world. And then Jasmine, being suspicious, is like, because the thing that made her suspicious is that Aladdin is like, do you trust me? And that's what the boy in the marketplace said to her. So she's like, oh look, there's a boo in the crowd. Nah, it can't be a boo because you are the boy from the market. Why'd you lie to me? Well, I sometimes dress up like a commoner like you did, you know. It's not so different. We're not so different, you and I. It's a totally crap lie. And they really hone in on that. Dahlia's like, you bought that? And Jeannie is like, she bought that? Dude, all you have to do is be yourself, be honest with her. And she bought y'all lie? Okay, whatever. So Jafar is starting to get suspicious. He's always been suspicious. He kidnaps Aladdin again and is like, if I push you, he ties Aladdin to a chair and hangs him over a balcony. And it's like, if I push you off this balcony and you die, you're gonna die a watery death. Or if you survive, I will know it's because you're the thief Aladdin. He pushes him off, Genie saves him. He has to work some magic, but he saves him, but it uses a second wish. And so Aladdin is like, it's some added stuff, but for the most part, Aladdin really gaslights Genie right here. He's like, no, I can't use that third wish. I need you. I thought you'd be happy for me, but all you care about is me using that wish to set you free. How you gonna gaslight me like that? Like, for real? And Genie is like, no, I don't really care. I don't care nothing about that wish. I just want you to be yourself. But now you're turning into that guy. You're drinking from that cup. And the cup is in reference to Genie saying, don't be that. When they first meet, he's like, don't be that guy who's like wishes for power and money and all that stuff. There's not enough money, power in the world to satisfy you. Don't drink from that cup. Don't be that guy. And now you're drinking from that cup and being that guy. And so he goes into his lamp. Aladdin storms off. He's walking in the marketplace. Jafar steals the lamp from him because Jafar somehow is this excellent thief too, and rubs the lamp. And now he has control. He makes his first wish to be Sultan. He shuts up the original Sultan and Jasmine. And so it's here that Aladdin learns, oh crap, the guy who bumped into me and stole the lamp was Jafar. He makes his second wish to be Sultan. In between these wishes, we do see Jasmine an added song Jasmine has called Speechless, where throughout the whole movie, they're kind of hinting at Jasmine to stay silent. You can't run the kingdom because women have never run the kingdom before. It hasn't been done. Stay in your place. Da, da, da. So Jasmine is like, I won't be silent. I can't be silent. You can't do this. He makes his wish to be Sultan. And then Aladdin comes back and tries to get the lamp back, but he sends Aladdin to the ends of the earth. Genie sends the rug after him. They come back. And so Aladdin tricks Jafar into wishing to be a genie. He does. And then he becomes a genie. And Genie is like, see, a genie without a master goes back in their lamp. And then he sends Jafar's lamp to the Cave of Wonders. He gets wish freed. He and Dahlia get together. Aladdin leaves because he's like, I'm sorry that I lied to y'all. Let me go. And so Jasmine's dad makes her sultan, says she will be the future sultan anyway. She leaves the palace looking for Aladdin and is like, wait, stop, your sultan commands it. And Aladdin's like, uh-oh, am I in trouble? Only because you got caught, because, you know, it's a line they had in the marketplace. We get an epilogue where they're married, and the dancers, the extra dancers, get their moment to dance and play around, and that's really the movie. And then we have like with the credits roll, which I didn't really know until I watched it again for this video. There's a rap version of Friend Like Me, and it's right after. It's right after. I don't know how I never paid attention to it, but it's right after where Will Smith raps A Friend Like Me. And I think that's pretty cool. And then that's the movie. So let's get into my commentary on it. A lot of people were like, this is just not clickbait, but they only make remakes for money. It's nostalgic filled. It relies on nostalgia too much. The CGI is horrible. It's more Bollywood than Middle Eastern, which that's like the only comment. That's the only issue that I'm not going to speak to because I can't really say. Um, it's just not great. It can't outdo the original. I don't think any of that negative commentary has standing outside of the Bollywood versus Middle Eastern, because like, oh, it relies on nostalgia too much. Does it, or are you looking through it? Are you looking at it through a nostalgic view, thus skewing your perception of it? Oh, all live actions are just about bank now. They don't care about quality or just making that may or may not be true. So I guess I can't even really speak to that. But my very first Kai's commentary rant was why live actions are important. And I did talk about this movie a little bit. But really, I think live actions are a do-over, which a lot of Disney needs. Like, yeah, you can be like, just take that at face value. Don't read like Pocahontas. Don't redo Pocahontas. Just leave it be. Leave it be. Because the only way you can get away with redoing Pocahontas is if you made it into like a documentary type thing. Leave it be. Take it at face value. I love the Renaissance Disney era, but even I have to acknowledge that there are things that need to be redone, and then there are just things that need to be left alone. Don't redo Pocahontas. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I might can see a live action of that, but you'd have to do it what? You'd have to do it right. I don't know if you should say the G word. I don't know if that's what you should be calling them. Um, I don't know how you do. I don't know. I don't know, because the persecution of the Romani people, it's a real thing, right? So tread lightly on that unless you're going to actually depict it correctly. But then you have Aladdin, which, yeah, it could also be left alone, but also diversity, historical accuracy. Not that this film is the most historic, because Bollywood versus Middle Eastern, or even Jasmine's clothes or whatever, right? There are things that are in it that just don't need to be. Like the first song, Arabian Nights, had some harmful, hurtful lyrics in it that they changed. And it's like, there are some Disney films that could stand a redo, a live action, and it's fine. And honestly, as I like was going back over, because yeah, it's one thing to hear the negative comments when it first came out, but then just going back and rereading the negative comments, I saw a lot of people saying live action just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And it's like either you've never heard of the staged version of Aladdin or you've never seen it. And it's one thing to never see it, but like it very much does work. Live action Aladdin very much does work. I'm not saying that the live action Aladdin is on par with the staged Aladdin. I got to see it this past February. It was great. But I'm just saying, like, it does work. I saw a lot of people talking about, oh, live actions just don't work, especially this. You just kept it to the animation. It just doesn't work in real life. It does. It very much does. Either you don't know about the stage version or you've never seen it. It's one thing to never see it, but it does indeed work. Um, what was another critic? The CGI. I'm not gonna say the CGI was perfect. I don't think it was that bad though. Like, yeah, there were times where it felt like scenes were like sped up for some reason, and Will Smith's blue genie just was a little weird, but I'm not gonna say it was like terrible. I'm not gonna say it was just so completely horrible. Um as far as Will Smith genie versus Aladdin genie, not or Robin Williams genie, it's like he didn't compete with Robin Williams. A lot of people were like, "There's no genie outside of," and it's like, see, that's your nostalgic talking. That's your nostalgia talking. You are looking at this instead of taking it face value. That's on you. He wasn't trying to compete with Robin Williams. He wasn't trying to outdo Robin Williams. He didn't outdo Robin Williams, but he made it his own, and I appreciate that, and I like his own. I like both versions. Um, Overall, I just don't think this film was as bad as people were making it out to be. Honestly, it had its issues. Um, there are things that could have been better. Overall, I just don't think it was that bad. You have people talking about, oh, Speechless. When has Jasmine ever been speechless? That's a historical thing for me. Historically speaking, it might have been more accurate that women weren't sultans and that she was continuously being shut down and told to be silent. And so when she finally like, no, I won't be silent, you know, I don't have an issue with that song. I actually really like that song. I don't think the casting was too bad. Everyone says, oh, the casting was so wrong. I don't think it was too bad. I really don't. I just don't think this film was that. I think it gets a really bad rep. I like the 1995, is it? I like the cartoon Aladdin. I do. I like the whole Renaissance thing, but if they decide to do every Renaissance movie over, excluding Pocahontas, I will watch them at the very least with a non-nostalgic view. Because I think a lot of people went into this looking at it nostalgic, looking, oh, it can't be better than a cartoon. It's not trying to be. It's not trying to be. Like, it doesn't give it, there's no point to it. It doesn't explain its existence. Why does it have to? It's much like with my the Ballad of the Songbird. That movie is not for me. It's for another generation. This Aladdin might not have been for us. It's for another generation, even though I liked it. But the beauty of it is that you don't have to watch any of the live actions. You can continue watching the cartoons and simultaneously not crap on the live actions and be like, oh, the cartoon was better. The cartoon, they changed everything from the cartoon. Go watch the cartoon. Go watch the cartoon. You don't have to watch the live action. And that's not to say you can't have your opinions on it. You can say it sucked to you, but also you can just go watch the cartoon. You don't really have to, like, I just don't think it was as bad as people made it out to be. I actually enjoyed this film. But that's just me, and that's just my commentary on a movie that I've seen. Let's kick it into our next segment, college advice from a senior in college, where I, as a senior in college, give you a little helpful tip that helped me in the hopes that it helps you. Today's tip: pick a major or a field of study that you actually see yourself doing. I know that sounds like complete common sense, like, duh, why would I go into college and just like go into something that I can't see myself doing? It happens a lot of times. Now, that's not to say that you have to go into college knowing exactly what you want to do. College is for experimenting. So if you have to play around and figure out what you need to do, change a major or minor a few times to figure it out, fine. But I want to remind you, you're paying to be here. You're paying to be here. So pick something to make it good, okay? Like, I'm a theater major, and in this major, now I had transferred schools, but even before I transferred schools, I would always talk to people and be like, okay, why'd you get into this field of study? And people would always ask me that. My reasoning was that I actually wanted to do acting for camera, and I still want to do acting for camera. But I'm glad that I have now learned what it is and what it means to act for stage. I went into my college major thinking that it was going to be a performing arts, meaning that they were going to teach us everything and I was going to be well rounded. That was my hope. And the state that I'm in is just, we are not creative in such a way. And so it's mostly theater here. It's not even mostly theater. Like, it's still small, but if you go anywhere and you're trying to learn acting for, you're most of the times going to learn acting for theater. And so I kind of didn't want to do theater. I mean, not majority, but I did want to learn it, right? And now I'm at the end of my college career and I'm glad that I've learned it. And now I still have to go figure out what classes to take to figure out how to act for camera, but I'm glad that I learned that I can still see myself doing it, right? And so when I asked other people, oh, what got you here? Oh, actually, this wasn't even my first major. Like, this is what I wanted to do, but also my first major was, I don't know, sociology or nursing. And I was like, oh, well, you don't seem like the person that would do sociology or you do seem like the person that would do sociology or nursing. So how did you get out of it? Or why did you go into it in the first place, right? Like, what made you, what where was your passion at for nursing, for sociology? Well, they make a lot of money. I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you how much money they made. I asked you what was your passion in that major. If money drew you to that major, to that career, to that study, you don't need to be in it. You don't need to be in it because 8 times out of 10, 80% of the time, you're gonna struggle with the classes. Now, yeah, everyone has to take the core classes anyway, but as far as like what you're studying and how the math class goes into whatever field you're studying or how the science class goes into whatever field you're studying, you're gonna have a hard time. If you do not have a passion for what you are doing, you are going to have a hard time. I went into college thinking that I was going to do acting for camera, came out doing acting for theater. I still have a passion for it though. Still wanted to learn it, just maybe not majority, right? Um, and that's again not to say that you have to automatically know what you're gonna do when you get to when you get to college. Go for undecided. Go for a major and a minor. Go for a double major or a double minor, which you'll still be a little hard double majoring or double minoring, but still, like, don't just go into something and being like, well, they make a lot of money. So if you have no passion for it, 8 times out of 10, you're gonna struggle. It's not going to be a very pleasant college experience for you. Pick a career or a major or a minor that you can see yourself doing, or make that major a minor. Like, my minor was journalism, right? Because that was my quote unquote real job. That was a job I was going to go out doing because that was what was practical, right? Theater isn't quote unquote practical, which theater and the arts actually are practical, and we have to change the view around that. I remember when I went into college my first year, I was telling everybody, oh, I'm gonna do directing, because I thought directing was more practical than saying I'm gonna be an actress. We have to change the view on that. But anyway, make it your minor, right? And if you don't have a passion for it, change it, or a double minor or a double major, right? Like, just go into something where you can somewhat see. If you absolutely can't see yourself doing that, like, if you know in your heart you can't see yourself doing that, it's one thing to experiment and be like, that's an interest, let's check it out. Oh, actually, I don't have a passion for it. Versus, automatically know I don't have a passion for this, but I'm going to do it anyway, you're going to have a hard time and you shouldn't do it. Because if money were no object, you're stuck in a career that you don't enjoy doing. You're not stuck, but as far as like 4 years, 2 years learning about this stuff that you're paying to be there to learn, pick a career or a major, a field of study that you can somewhat see or fully see yourself doing, that you have a passion for. And that's a little college tip, a little college advice from a senior in college. This is something that helped me. It's all subjective. So again, if you have to play around and figure out what you need to do, what you want, that's fine. That's what college is for. By all means, do that. This is just something that helped me, and I hope it helps someone else out there. And with that, let's kick it into our next segment. What drives me? Where I give my commentary on something that drives me. Today's topic is overanalyzing and picking apart TV shows and movies, specifically historical drama TV shows and movies. Now, this past weekend, my TikTok feed was just full of historical facts. Little known fact about me, I like history. I love learning about history, specifically ancient times like Greece and Rome, or African nations. But I also like learning about the American Revolution, very ironically, because I know most of that is bull, right? But there's something in me. I don't know. Maybe it's from Turn, Washington Spies, and Schoolhouse Rock, and Liberty Kids, and even partially Sleepy Hollow, even though they scared that history completely. There's something in me that likes learning about the American Revolution and colonial times and like times before us, right? I like learning about history. So this past weekend, I was learning, it was just random Henry VIII facts and his wives, and also Greek mythology, right? And so when I got to Henry VIII, they started talking about Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, I believe they called her, Elizabeth I, and Mary Tudor, Bloody Mary, right? Now they have different mothers. Elizabeth's mother is Anne Boleyn, and Mary's mother is Catherine of Aragon. And so Catherine of Aragon was Henry's first wife, and Anne Boleyn was Henry's second wife. So when they pushed Catherine out and made Anne queen, that meant Elizabeth had to like be pushed further down the line of succession and all that stuff, right? Despite all that, or not Elizabeth, Mary. And so despite all that, Mary and Elizabeth were kind of actually close. I'm saying all this, there's you have to know the history of it before I get into what drives me, right? So they were actually kind of close, and then they grew up and Mary took the throne. And so she imprisoned Elizabeth in the Tower of London for suspicion of treason against the crown and conspiring to kill the queen, but they couldn't find any evidence to back that up, and so she was released. And you go into that comment section, and because my mind was at, dang, I can't feel sorry for her, because Elizabeth did that exact same thing to Mary, Queen of Scots, her cousin. And so I can't feel sorry for her, right? I don't think you can really have an opinion on any of it, because as far as like emotions, right? Because that's politics. That's what they did. They would trump up charges and lock you in a tower and take your head or kill you or release you and banish you, exile you, right? And so you go into the comments and you're like, dang, she did the same thing to Mary, Queen of Scots. And then you have people in the comments are like, see, that's why you can't trust Rain. Rain didn't tell you all of this. Rain didn't do all of this, or this and that didn't do. The Tudors didn't do all of this. They didn't tell you all of this, right? Now, Rain is a CW teen drama show that follows Mary, Queen of Scots, right? Here's what drives me. If you went into that show thinking you were about to get some historical details, you're sadly it's one thing if somebody in the comments had been like, oh, that happened for real. I thought they did it. I thought this happened because that's what they showed in Rain. And then you're like, no, actually Rain's not the most historical place to go. Here's a more accurate piece of media, or here's a link that you can actually get the real details from. But just being like, see, Rain is so completely historically accurate. They didn't tell you all of this. If you went into that show thinking that you were going to get historical accuracy, you're stupid. Now, Rain starts off with Nostradamus, the court seer. Now, yes, a lot of courts had seers and stuff, but we all know they didn't believe in that science like that, because that was heresy, right, in that time. And so the court seer tells Catherine de' Medici that Mary, Queen of Scots, is going to be the reason that her son Francis dies. Their union is going to cause Francis' death. That's completely not true. Francis was a very sickly child. He died from an ear infection at like 15. You know how I know that? Because Rain inspired me to go look it up. Not to say that these shows like Rain, The Tudors, or Bridgerton, or any historical period show, um, they're made just for you to like look into the real stuff. I think the only thing that can get away with being labeled as such is Hamilton. Um, Not that those shows were made for you to go look stuff up, but they can guide you to doing so. So if you went into that show thinking that that is no, the Rain also depicts that Francis was Catherine's favorite, which is not true. I think it was Henry. So she had the three major sons anyway were Charles, Henry, and Francis. Charles and Francis both died young, I believe, and it was Henry who listened to that. She was regent for all of their reigns, right? And I believe it was Henry who listened to her the most and stuff like that. He was the favorite. He was the one that was less sickly. It was either Henry or Charles, but I think it was Henry, right? Like it's a teen drama and it's a historical drama. Everything in here is dramatized. Like there's nothing that is for the most like yeah, there are some things that are true, but like for the most part, no. Or they'll attack the wardrobe. That dress is so not historically accurate, which for Rain, they did try to make replicas of some of Mary Queen of Scots clothes. They tried to make a few replicas, but for the most part, if that's your passion, that's your passion, or even your job, but like go get into that industry and do it then. Like we don't care. I don't care that that's not historical accurate dress unless it's just like obviously not historical accurate, which it wasn't to me. I don't care. I don't care. If you care so much, go get into that industry. Put up or shut up. Like I cannot stand. Y'all will never know how much it just completely drives me that people will just pick apart these shows like that. Like they're not made to give you educational facts. The only one that can get away with that is Hamilton. And Hamilton is completely inaccurate. But you look up a lot of stuff about Hamilton. Didn't know who Alexander. I knew he was on the $10 bill. Didn't even learn about him as a founding father. The Tudors, like this stuff is not really made, especially Bridgerton. Like people pick apart Bridgerton's clothes for the most part, and it's like no one is watching these shows trying to see if they're wearing historically accurate clothes. No one are watching these shows trying to think, oh, did that actually happen? These are dramas. Put up or shut up. Go get in the industry and make sure these things are correct, or shut up. I get if it's your passion and stuff, and you just like can't help it. But you know what you come off as? That didn't happen in the book. That didn't happen in the book. In the book, this happened. But it didn't happen like that in the book. Let me tell you how it happened in the book. No one likes those people. No one likes those people. People actively avoid those people. Like, it's not that big a deal. I get it if it's your passion, and so it just like it drives you to see stuff like that, but take it at face value. This is a drama show. People are watching this stuff for the drama. If anyone is actually interested, here are some links. But ultimately, these are drama shows, and you just picking it apart makes you a completely unbearable person to be around. I said it. That drives me. And y'all will never know how much it just, yeah, drives me. But that's what drives me. And that's Kaya's commentary. If you like this episode, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe/follow button, leave a comment down below, let me know any of your thoughts. Be respectful, but certainly let me know any of your thoughts and opinions on any of the segments I had. And with that, I'll see you next week.